I have some jungle fighters and shock troops from 15-ish years ago. I think I might have traded my Space Marine Rhino for them because I can't find that anywhere. I don't know what teenage me was thinking when he put these together. I mean, look at this guy. He looks like he's about to say,
"Ask me about my wiener."
Maybe that's why I did it. Don't know. But yeah, I've got these guardsmen, but I'm building a chaos army. So it only makes sense to turn them into cultists. I'm going to try to go for a more Nurgle vibe for these. But not have them all gross and have their guts hanging out and stuff. So I'll be using green stuff to bulk them up a bit and make them a bit more, yes. I'm not great at sculpting tiny detail, so the additions will be pretty simple. I put tiny pieces of green stuff onto the belly area and then blend them in with the rest of the model. I press subtle creases into the putty on some of them to resemble folds in the clothing. On a few of the models, I bulk up the chest area as well. I add some green stuff to the posterior regions of a few of these models just to fill them out a bit more. And on just one model, I bulk up the kneecaps. See how it looks when I finally paint these, I guess. I was trying a little bit of everything on these models, at least within my limited mini sculpting skill set. On two models, I add cloaks, dusters, capes, whatever you want to call them. And I just apply a flattened out piece of green stuff and contour it to the body. On the other model, I added folds to begin with, and it turned out a lot better in my opinion. After this initial layer is cured, I go back in and I bulk up folds with rolls of green stuff, blending it in and pressing additional folds into the putty. On the other models, I add back in the vest from the original torsos, and that's just blending in the outside edge of a roll of green stuff into the front of the torso, and then I leave the inner edge so that there's a clear line to indicate that the model's got that extra layer of clothing on. I probably won't play any games, but I want to be somewhat within the rules, so instead of keeping the last guns, I chose to buy some third-party bits. I purchased a couple autogun equivalents from Mad Robot Miniatures. I'm not sure why I thought these would work for auto pistols. Initially I did use them, but then changed my mind later on. I also bought some weapons from Victoria Miniatures to also use as autoguns. I really like the stuff these two companies put out, but I'm not sponsored or anything. I'm just giving proper credit where credit's due. Some of the las guns had straps that also extended to the arm, so I tried to keep as much of the strap as possible and then sculpted the rest of the strap onto the new guns. I used these gas mask heads from Victoria Miniatures because it gave off the vibe I was looking to go for with these cultists. You know, that sort of Nurgle plague vibe. So when I scrapped using the larger guns for auto pistols, I decided to make some green stuff copies from some of the other cultist models I have by making Oyumaru molds. I talk about Oyumaru a bit more in depth in my other conversion videos. I was in a rush to get these done, so of course, the copies came out super janky and deformed, and in the final reveal of these, you'll see how I try to fix them, which is right now. So, I really like the pose on this guy, the way he's just kind of casually strolling through the battlefield. This is the cultist with the bulked up kneecaps. I had to add green stuff to connect the stock and the arm to the new autogun. Actually, most of the models needed that gap bridged. This is the first shock troop I did. Not a real creative pose, but it still counts as a conversion, so yeah. Moving on. This cultist I sculpted a duster jacket onto. It's not the best, but I like the folds in it. And I added a longer barrel onto the auto pistol to cover up some of that jankiness from the mold. Here's another cultist just strolling through the battlefield, but this one's a little bit more rotund than the rest. Hey, what do you think of him, Big Papa Pump?
He's fat!
Yep. I tried to fix the deformed auto pistol on this one and ended up making it look super bulky, like something that would have been sculpted like 30 plus years ago. I also made a sledgehammer from a piece of cured green stuff I didn't use, and some styrene rod. Pretty proud of that part. When I tried to fix the auto pistol on this guy, it ended up looking kind of like an Uzi, which is cool, I guess. The sculpting of the folds on the front of the shirt is probably some of the best I did on this project. I added some pieces of plastic scrap from a no parking sign to the back of this guy as some improvised armor. Maybe a bit too much for the model, and I think the folds on the jacket turned out pretty good too. The blending could be a bit smoother though. The second and final shock troop of this squad has a flamer. I used the leftover legs from my basic cultist box video, and instead of trying to cut into the shock troop torso, this guy just has 2 belts. That's a thing, right? And finally, for the cultist champion, I sculpted a hoodie onto him and used a Victoria Miniatures shotgun and a Mad Robot Miniatures shoulder pad and arms. Let me know what you think of this squad of cultists in the comments below. I've got enough bits to make another 10 model squad too. If you'd like to see that, let me know. I'm wrapping up an Obliterator conversion video as well, so if you want to see how that project turns out, consider subscribing. And if you made it this far, hit that like button with a brain buster! Sorry, just making sure everyone's still awake. Plus, that's just how you say it. Alright, keep on keeping on, and I'll catch you later. Peace.